Hey everyone, and welcome back to our Legion discussion. Here in part 2, we're going to touch on the dungeons and raids that were announced at the reveal, as well as the new Demon Hunter class and the new PvP system revamp. We hope you enjoyed the continued conversation here, and let's just pick up where we left off. Next, let's talk about dungeons and raids. We did talk a little bit about the Halls of Valor already. It's supposed to be based in the clouds above Stormheim. It's supposed to be like the Valhalla for the Vikruul, and that's where we're going to meet up and fight the God King, who's going to be the antagonist of the Stormheim zone. So
another instance that's going to be in Legion is Black Rook Old. It's an ancient elven fortress in Valshara. It's the ancestral home of Lord Ravencrest. Sounds kind of like a badass.
Yeah, I don't know his complete story, but I know he's a pivotal character in some of the older lore.
And he's got a cool name.
Yeah.
It's an elven fortified base, which is currently being corrupted. So elves have something special about them. They just love to be corrupted by things.
I think they're easily tricked.
They're so smart, though.
I know. It sounds like it's going to be unlike any elven structure we've seen before, because it is by kind of a secluded group of elves. So it's going to be a little different than the night elven structure and the blood elven structure that we've seen before. And from the images they showed, I think it kind of reminds me of like Tol Barad. I don't know if anyone else thought that. Just looks very grim and bleak and almost kind of prison-like. But I think that should be a pretty cool. I think that's actually the first instance we'll be going into, because it's in Black Rook Old, and I believe we start in Valshara.
Okay.
I don't know, though. I think that might be the case, though.
All right. Moving on, we've got Vault of the Wardens. So if you're unfamiliar with that, Illidan kept there.
Yeah. So
he wouldn't get out in the world and start causing more damage and corruption by himself. Gul'dan is releasing him. So
obviously he penetrated the vault of these wardens who obviously is Mayav and her followers and stuff. So I believe we go back there not only in this dungeon setting, but also through some of the Demon Hunter background and some of the Illidari background as well.
Demon Hunters. Coming later. Eye of the
Shara, yeah, I don't think we know too much about. I know it's in Azuna, so maybe we'll get a little glimpse at
some Naga stuff.
Yeah, is it going to be water-based? I don't know.
I would assume it would be water-based.
It'll be interesting to see, though.
Naga,
because the Naga just live in the water. There's not going to be, like, an underground air pocket that we can go into.
No.
I don't know. I don't think it'll be like that dungeon in Cataclysm where we didn't even know that it's a mess.
Yeah. All right, we got the Darkheart Thicket. Right now, that name, Darkheart, kind of like a demonic name. Thicket. Bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I think it's like just the name sounds cool. So in Valshara, they told us it was going to be the heart of the Nightmare Corruption. So it sounds like that will kind of be the prelude to the Emerald Nightmare and Xavius. So maybe we'll get a glimpse of him while we're there, get us ready for the first raid tier.
There's going to be some evil druidic things there, so you can expect a lot of satyrs.
Most likely, yeah. Some thicket, some thorns.
Maybe some bush.
Yeah, no, that one sounds cool. So it's another one in Valshara, so that's 2 for that zone. Next up is Neltharion's Lair, which, we were talking about Death Knight earlier, so this is probably going to be where we're going to go in, and we're going to be looking for some answers to some of his past, as well as maybe running into some Drogbar, I don't know.
Drogbar, maybe some whelps, probably a lot of dragonkin, probably some actual full-grown dragons.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, maybe more black dragonflight. We don't know a whole lot about them, so that would be cool.
Okay, so yeah, we don't know a whole lot about it.
No, I'm just excited about this next one.
All right, so the next one is Violet Hold, which was a pretty cool instance in Wrath of the Lich King. It was like a random instance. There'd be 3 boss fights, right? 3?
Yep.
3 boss fights. The first 2 would be random. Some of them were... They had different...
I think there was like 5 that there could be for the first 2.
Something like it. They had different mechanics, so like you kind of had to adapt on the fly, which is kind of cool. Like it wasn't just something you could space through.
Yeah, so if you were in there with a group of a bunch of first timers, it's probably a bit of a shit show because some mechanics I remember the water boss. You had to click the levers,
the button on the wall.
Yeah, and it would just destroy everything as all of these water elementals are just converging on you, and you're like, holy shit!
And if you didn't, then he would take like 3 damage.
Yeah, his water shield his mana shield, I think it was. But yeah,
there was also the Arakoa. There would be 3 of them, and they would just attack super fast, and they would just like shred you if you guys didn't make sure the tank had them. Yeah, there's a lot of cool boss fights in there, but there's some deep, dark secrets that we missed the first time around. Maybe there's some imprisoned creatures that we didn't have a chance to fight.
Yeah, I mean, it easily could be expanded on, I think. From looking at it from the outside, there was like different components to the place as you walked into it, so you knew it was kind of had a little more to it than you thought. So it sounds like the fact that Dalaran's being moved closer to the Tomb of Sargeras is opening up some issues in there. So it sounds like we have to go back in and figure out what the hell's going on.
Well, usually, like, if there is some big rift that a lot of demons come out of, like the Tomb of Sargeras, that would be a huge source of power. So any demons that are in Violet Hold,
right,
they would feel like a surge of power, or like a calling to get out, or something, just something that's driving them to get out and fight. You have to be there to fight them back or weaken them so they can be locked up again.
Yeah, and the developers made mention of learn more about the origins of Dalaran and the world itself. So that makes me think Titan instantly. So we might even be dealing with some imprisoned, not old gods, but maybe something a little less powerful, or maybe just some Titan stuff in general. When they say learn more about the world itself, it was obviously made by the Titans. Dalaran is very magey, so maybe they found some shit a while ago that we don't know about, and they threw it down there. So.
Yeah, just like, they dug too deep.
They dug too deep, basically, yeah. The mages dug too deep, and they're like, okay, we'll just hide this in here under our nose. And
the Warcraft equivalent of a Balrog.
Yeah, the Balrog comes out of
They locked it away so it wouldn't just do all kinds of bad things to the inhabitants of Azeroth.
Yeah, so next up after that is supposed to be Suramar City. And they call it the City of Night. So it sounds like they were called the Nightborn, a certain type of elves. It should be interesting to see, since Suramar Palace is supposed to be the tier 2 raid. Suramar City is going to probably give us a pretty cool glimpse. They showed us some concept art of Suramar Palace, and it looks pretty awesome. So I have a feeling Suramar City is going to be pretty cool too.
Helheim, we kind of covered before. You get to ride around a giant ghost ship.
Yeah, they compared it to the Grimrail Depot dungeon in the aspect that you are on this continuous moving thing, like we were on the train.
That's right.
But you'll be on this giant ghost ship of the damned, or whatever they call it. And they said, I think primarily you'll be on that, but then you also end up, I hope eventually at Helheim.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a big instance.
The boat's going somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, they made it sound like those 2 Titan Keepers are at Helheim, and that's where they've been feuding for years, and it'll be really cool to see that. So I'm hoping this is not some little half-assed, like, oh, here's these guys, and
the immovable wall meets the unstoppable force, and we're just these bystanders going.
We're just on it for the ride. But to wrap it up, I think it sounds pretty promising. In all, they showed us 9 announced dungeons. There is a possibility there could be more. I think in Warlords of Draenor we only had 7 at launch, and I know when I saw that number, I was so disappointed. I thought 7 dungeons. I don't even know how many came out in Burning Crusade, but there was at least like 15.
Well, there was, Tempest Keep alone had 3.
Yeah, there was a ton, and it was so great. Every level you had almost 2 new dungeons you could go do. And that was great. And I think nine's a pretty decent number. I'm hoping to have 2 or 3 more though. I think having that bigger number would be great. And Blizzard even said themselves they've been leaving dungeons kind of on the wayside for the last few years. They haven't been doing them their proper justice. So hopefully this is where they make up for it. And if 9 is the only number they can do, as long as they make them well, I won't be too upset with 9, I don't think.
I'd like to see them be longer ones if they're not planning on adding any more. That way...
Yeah, I completely agree.
Because questing is great, but when you go into a dungeon, it gives you a different experience.
It's a great break from questing.
It's a great break. You're getting to not only practice the mechanics of your class, prepare for heroics or raids or whatever, like learn your rotations, get damage down, but you're also getting a different story. Like usually the end boss in these raids are someone who has some sort of impact on the expansion itself. Mm-hmm. So it'll be nice to experience that, and like it adds depth to the story of the expansion instead of just having to raid to get that, which I feel like Draenor kind of had that. I don't feel like the dungeons had a whole lot of impact as far as the story went.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, mess with the Iron Horde. No. Stop their shipments.
Yeah.
Ah.
I agree. I would love some longer dungeons. That was just some of my favorite memories. Of course, I did not like running Blackrock Depths trying to get a tune for Anexia over dozens of times, or even Molten Core, but I do love a nice long dungeon. And I agree.
I think there's a sweet zone for dungeons. I want to say it's about 45 to an hour.
Yeah, I would say so. Some of them that have been coming out, though, you can do in 20 minutes. And that's just too short.
They've got like those, I forget what they're called, but they're like time trials for those. They've got the gold medal goal being like 12 minutes. Like,
yeah, that's insane.
It's so fast, but people can do it. And I'm not really looking for a dungeon you can do in 12 minutes.
Yeah, looking for one that challenges you and offers great rewards at the same time and a compelling story.
And, hopefully, like, I know it's kind of gone on the wayside. Polymorph has been pointless in the last few years, but CC is good. It's another mechanic. Like, you have to fear the monsters you're fighting. Mm-hmm. You have to be concerned about it, and you have to say, oh man, I better use some crowd control on this guy, or else, kill the healers first, not just like, all right, just kill stuff. Being able to use these mechanics that are given to your class, it's good. And I want the monsters to be strong. I want to be afraid of the monsters. Again, going back to Burning Crusade heroics, those were scary. You would wipe a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Those were great. And you did wipe a lot, but you felt really accomplished at the end, and that, I think, is something they're missing, is that sense of accomplishment, that sense of, oh, we finally did it, great, and not, we just pressed a button, we got queued up with a bunch of strangers, we didn't talk the whole time, and we didn't use raid markers, we didn't do anything, we just got in there and got our gold and got out. It's just...
A lot of people are looking for a casual experience like that. It's fine. I know that's probably the bigger base of who plays now.
I hope not.
It could be. I mean, I'm not saying I always have, like hours to play. Sometimes I'll have an hour, but if I want to queue up and do a dungeon, like my hour is filled with actually like getting involved. I'm not just hitting a button, every now and then be like, oh, I can spam steady shot or something, and I'll get through, I'll get loot, or I'll get points, or whatever system they have now for buying loot.
Yeah. Yeah, so the developer said they want to make there to be reasons for you to run them after you've reached max level cap and after you've gained gear, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with the dungeons. I'm pretty excited, though. Next, we're going to get into rating, different raids that they're going to be offering here. They've only announced 2. We'll talk about those. But before that, Ian Hazakosa said they were very happy with how raiding went in World of Warlords of Draenor, and that's great. I didn't experience a whole lot of it. I was pretty prevalent in the first few weeks when High Maul came out. I made it all the way up to the 6th boss on normals. We were in a bad guild. We weren't in a bad guild. We were in a guild that we didn't really want to be in.
I never really did any normals, but they were guys who were like more serious about it than we were. Well, no, that's the wrong word. They were more critical of people than we cared to be. Like, we're pretty laid back as far as, like, obviously, if someone's making a huge mistake, you're not happy about it, but you're not going to, like, trash someone, like, get rid of them if they're just...
Yeah. That's what we missed in Mr. Pandaria. We totally missed something that happened in raiding where it all became about gear score, and it all became about, if you're not hitting this amount of DPS, you're not good, you're getting replaced. Like, it became so technical because I think they ran Siege of Orgrimmar for a year and they just kept doing it. That was the people we played with. They did that, and all they cared about was getting the highest number and probably doing it the smoothest. And that wasn't the kind of raiding that me and you grew up doing.
It was slappy a lot.
I mean, we weren't bad in any sense, but we certainly didn't obsess over numbers.
We got to some tier 6 stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we did some Hygel. I think we may have gone in the door of Black Temple. I never fought a boss in it with an actual guild, but I know we killed the first 2 bosses in Hygel, there may have been a bug. I don't know.
No.
On the second boss.
We're not talking about that.
But no, like, we were just with a bunch of people. Like, I know that I did not do the best DPS on the Hunter that I had.
Yeah, in WoD, yeah.
I'm talking about BC.
Oh, okay.
But, like, it was a group of people that enjoyed playing the game, and everyone was pretty much happy to be raiding together.
Yeah, and it was more about if you really had trouble with the mechanics, then you had to go. If you weren't pulling these insane DPS numbers that were grabbed from the internet charts, you weren't cut. If you didn't understand the mechanics and you were wiping the raid, then you were cut, because that's really what mattered back then. Like, it's okay if you weren't pulling top damage and you didn't have best in slot. You were just there trying with a bunch of people, and you was no longer fun. Yeah, you're having fun, and I'm sure you can still have fun. I think we were just with the wrong group in Warlords of Draenor. So
I'm like, how many times do you get a boss down to 10%? Everyone's just, you wipe, but everyone's super jacked. You're like, all right, we only have 10% more to go. We can do it this next time. It's not like, well, you know, if you did the damage you were supposed to do, we probably would have got an extra 10%.
Yeah.
So we're going to find somebody new.
Yeah, it's
like, that's the feel that I got out of the last expansion.
Yeah, and I hope that hopefully we'll find a better group to raid with when this expansion comes about, because
we're not in school anymore. So you know what that means. Time to raid.
There you go. So to get right into it, they announced the Emerald Nightmare is going to be the first tier raid, and it's going to be 7 bosses. Ooh, wow, really original, just like Highmaul, exactly the same number.
It's just a number, though.
It is, but finally we've got some Emerald Dream, Emerald Nightmare content, which is going to be great. People are super jacked about that. We're going to be pursuing Cenarius, looking for his help to fight Xavius in the end. And for those of you that don't know, the Emerald Dream, it is a blueprint of Azeroth created by the Titans. It was meant to be the perfect and the purest form of the whole planet.
It's a dream.
Yeah, it's a dream, and it was basically what they used to kind of mess around and figure out how they wanted Azeroth to be laid out. Yet Xavius is taken over. He is I believe he's labeled the Nightmare Lord.
Yeah.
Something along those lines, and he is looking to corrupt the Emerald Nightmare. And he's succeeding. He's corrupting the Emerald Dream, turning it into the Emerald Nightmare.
He has been for a while. He's just gone unchecked.
Yeah, he's gone unchecked. He's been doing it for a while. Xavius, I'm not sure where his lore originates from. Probably a novel or two. But yeah, he has not been mentioned in the game at all. The Emerald Dream and the Emerald Nightmare have been mentioned a few times, but nothing about. I don't think Xavius has been directly.
I think he's just kind of been there.
Mm-hmm. Well, now it's time for us to get in there and stop that shit. It should be really cool to see the Nightmare. It'll be interesting to see, since the Dream is supposed to be the purest form of Azeroth. It'll be interesting to see what the nightmare looks like. Maybe I'll twist it and mess it up.
It's going to drive me nuts if it's just a green tint. Like,
I don't think it will be green, because that's probably what the Emerald Dream should look like. I think this is going to be a pretty gloomy, pretty dark.
Like lots of purples?
Yeah, I'm thinking purples and blacks and...
Maybe some orange?
Maybe some orange. Maybe some red, definitely, if you look at Xavius.
Oh, yeah, red. Got some grays.
some earthy tones. No, it should be cool. Xavius's model is on the website. You guys should check it out. It looks pretty crazy.
www.lemonparty.org if you're looking for it.
Stop it. The next raid they announced, the second raid, which will most likely be patched, just like they did in Warlords of Draenor.
No thanks.
No thanks? You want two of them at launch?
I want it in right away.
I do too, because I don't think... I don't like the here's your one dungeon or here's your one raid at launch and just check out the schedule. That's when you get to raid next. Like, no, if there's guilds that are ready to do it, they should be able to go in and do it. They shouldn't have to wait out these silly schedules. And here I am comparing it to
BC.
To BC, but BC launched with the most content ever. And yeah, they had more time to plan it out, but
it was the first expansion.
They should have the team. They should have the people that can create this kind of content. At this point, the game was so young then. The game is huge now. They can create 2 raids at launch for us. 17 bosses, 17 encounters. That's not too much to ask.
That's all we got.
So Suramar Palace is going to be a 10 boss raid. It's going to be the Royal Elven City. So we'll be in Suramar City, seeing probably a lesser version of what Suramar Palace is going to be looking like. And apparently it's going to be a nice, refreshing new look for raiders, because raiders are used to the orcs, they're used to the Fellfire, they're used to all of the Siege of Orgrimmar. They're just sick of that. So here we're going to be fighting, I'm assuming, the corrupted elven people inhabiting Suramar City.
Right.
Which is home to the Nightwell, the source of the Nightborn elves. So there we go. And it's the center of Suramar's power. So the whole zone of Suramar is basically centered around this palace. And this is where we are going to be meeting up with Gul'dan and hopefully killing his ass for good this time.
I wonder if someone else is going to take his skull and do something weird again.
So, yes, we're killing, we didn't kill the first Gul'dan. This one's asking for it. So it sounds like he's going to get what's coming to him come the second raid of Legion.
I don't like that either. I don't like knowing
that that's what's going to happen.
I don't like knowing who the end boss is right away.
Well, he's not going to be the end boss of the expansion, which is good. And I agree with that. I don't want to know who it is either. So
that's that.
That's that. Yeah, I mean, I think I had a few more things to say about the fact about rating. I think maybe I touch on it later here. Yeah, I'll talk about it as we wrap up. We'll get on with the rest of the features here. Joel, you want to talk about Demon Hunters?
All right, Demon Hunters is a new class that's going to be introduced in Legion. It's only available to Night Elves and Blood Elves, which makes sense. Elves are Demon Hunters.
Yep.
The crowd reacted very positively to the announcement of the Demon Hunter.
Definitely. I think it's something people have been looking for a long time. And it hasn't made a whole lot of sense until now. So, I mean, I think they did a good job with that.
Well, yeah, now more than ever. The only other time it could have worked was
burning
BC. Yeah. But, I mean, in BC, there's a lot of other stuff going on. We had two new races.
Yeah, I think they had mentioned that they were interested in doing the Demon Hunter concept back then, but they weren't ready for a new class at the time.
So some people like Slaggy are like, oh yeah, I remember Diablo 3. Like, yeah, there's a Demon Hunter class in there. They are different.
Definitely different Demon Hunters.
So, like, a lot of people who don't like WoW, or just people who are nerds and not in a good way, are just gonna like kind of bash on it, being like, oh, real original. You have Demon Hunters in one game, just throw them in another. Totally different. These ones are cooler.
I think so too. Yeah, these ones are corrupted
elves.
Corrupted elves who are just trying to
they're
slay their old masters, basically.
Full of hatred and vengeance, and they get so much angst, and they want to get back at the people that caused them to be what they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so getting into that, they sampled some of the character creation that's going to be available to these new people rolling Demon Hunters. Getting to customize the different horns, getting customized the different Illidari markings and tattoos on their bodies. It sounds like their armor is going to allow them to show off a lot of that, which is really cool.
They're going to be a light armor wearing class, so
is it
thinking like leather?
I think it's supposed to be leather. Yeah.
So like leather
harnesses and
as far as
leather daddy.
As far as World of Warcraft goes, like cloth sometimes shows very little.
Yeah.
It covers very little. Leather covers a little bit more as it goes on, covers more. But like they're gonna look like they're agile wearing leather. They're not gonna look super bulky. They're gonna look like pretty slender characters.
Yeah.
In the elves, that makes sense.
It sounds cool. So you're going to have options for like scaly skin or like demonic looking skin. As well as for eyewear, you're going to be able to have the bandage. It looked like the bandage was primarily on the night elves, and then the blood elves even had like the veil on them, which is very blood elfy of them. But I think they both look cool.
Very angsty.
Very fashionable of the blood elves and their pretty hair and such. But I think allowing some new like customer or character creation is going to be cool, like the tattoos and being able to show that kind of stuff off is a nice touch. So
I mean, we've got tattoos. We like tattoos. Characters have tattoos.
Yeah, we want to show off.
I think dwarves are the only other race that really have tattoos in lore. Like I know the Wild Hammers will have like some blue tattoos.
Yeah,
irrelevant. It's still cool.
Mm-hmm.
To acceptance.
Well, I mean, like
World of Warcraft.
I mean, when you think of Demon Hunter, you think of their body just covered in these markings and different colors, like the greens and the reds, and I think it'll be really cool to finally get to make that your character.
It's gonna be a super badass class. I'm sure you're gonna feel like a badass the whole time.
Definitely.
So the starting experience for these Demon Hunters is based around a mission that Illidan sends his Illidari on, like in the timeline of Burning Crusade before he's defeated at the Black Temple. So you're kind of looking into the past. It's like a suicide mission for the Demon Hunter. You're going to Mardoon, which is kind of a scary place, I guess.
Yeah, I think the story behind Mardoon was that as Sargeras, as he was a good Titan, this is where he used to prison the demons that the Titans then defeated. But as he went bad, he shattered it and then unleashed the demons on pretty much all of
creation.
The universe. Yeah. So that place sounds pretty sketchy, but it sounds like as you're starting out as a demon hunter that you are basically on this mission that Illidan sent you on before he was defeated. And it'd be really interesting to see what it is. He's probably like, okay, I'm about to die. I still hate the demons. All of you, my Illidari, you go and try and kill Sargeras, or you go and try to fuck up the demons or something.
And they know it's a suicide mission, so they're probably kind of pissed about it, which kind of feeds into the whole vengeance and hatred thing. Like, well,
why are you so angry?
I hate that I'm being sent on a suicide mission, but I hate even more that I'm going to be killed by the things that I hate the most.
Yeah.
Being the demon.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's going to be a really cool, unique experience, such as like the Death Knight that you got in the Wrath of the Lich King. It sounds like it would be pretty cool.
They're also being labeled a hero class, which was something I thought they were getting rid of.
Yeah, I thought they tried to remove the name of that, basically telling people that we're not going to have any more cool. Maybe they were just tricking us the whole time, but they're like, we're not calling them a hero class anymore, probably because we're not going to do any more of them.
Well, Death Knights did seem to be like more powerful for a while.
Yeah.
And they weren't called a hero class. I thought they were just trying to get rid of that like idea behind it.
Yeah, they want to make everyone equal, so they're probably like, okay, everyone thinks these guys are good because we're calling them heroes. We should probably stop that.
But pretty much all that means now, like I'm sure they will be very strong. Or else,
Yeah, no doubt. But they'll
start at a higher level, so you won't have to level like 1 to 110, which just saying that sounds like a lot, like starting a new character. Wow.
They have to go past 100, yeah.
Wow.
We should probably reroll tonight, though.
I gotta work in the morning. And reroll tomorrow.
So getting into a little more of the Demon Hunters, it sounds like they're coming with 2 specs. First is called Havoc, it's the DPS spec, and Vengeance is the tanking spec.
It's weird because they only have 2 specs, whereas up until this point, almost all classes have
they all have at least 3.
They have all had 3 for a long time. Just recently, Druid's got a 4th spec that differentiates Feral into like Guardian and Cat DPS spec. So it's weird that they're cutting one down. But what else? I mean, they're not going to be healers. And I think with Death Knights, something that we noticed is like, maybe you don't need 2 DPS specs.
Yeah, I think they just kind of followed suit when they came out with the DKs. And they're like, yeah, I mean...
Let's give them 3.
Yeah, let's give them 3. I mean, they probably easily could have fused on the Unholy moves and just to like general Death Knight moves. They didn't need an Unholy spec. Because literally what was Unholy? It was, you got to summon a gargoyle, and you got to do some more like dots. Like you got some plague or something.
Yeah, you had a plague.
I mean, they really weren't like huge identifiers of what the class was.
There wasn't a big difference.
Right. So I think it's probably a good idea they went with the 2 specs, do them both right. 1 good DPS spec, 1 good tank spec. It sounded like people agreed with that. Don't waste manpower on something that doesn't need to be done.
And also, like, if it came out with 3 specs, if people wanted a DPS or tank, they would go back to the cookie cutter thing.
Yeah, they would go for the best one.
Like, if Unholies for Death Knights is good in 1 patch, people are playing Unholy. Most people aren't playing Frost unless they're, like, super dedicated to the spec. Yeah,
and what I remember from DKs when they came out, that you wanted to go Blood because Blood was all about the life return. It was all about the sustain. Well, it's easier for leveling.
Well, that's what people do now to solo, like, current expansion raid bosses.
Yeah,
which I think is crazy because, these Blood Death Knights have been doing that since they came out, since Wrath.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So they're going to have some unique abilities. You can be very mobile. Something that the developers said that they would have is double jump. So they're going to be moving a lot. I'm wondering if moving is going to help them in any way. I wonder if they're going to tie like movement into their abilities.
I don't know. Yeah, I know they've got like a dash move. They can dash through opponents. They can dash towards them.
You'd think they would have to incorporate that somehow into their damage doing, like. Because I mean, otherwise it's just kind of gimmicky.
Yeah, unless they're very like, I need to be in your face for this amount of time, and then I need to dip out, and then
because
I
am wearing light armor.
Yeah,
I can take a ton of damage, but I can do a ton of damage.
Yeah, so it might be a really situational give or take. Like, I'm gonna hop in quick, do some damage, and then jump out, and like
it makes a lot of sense for PvP.
Yeah,
or soloing and leveling up. Like maybe you can kite them a little bit.
Yeah,
which is like huge in PvP.
They'll be great for taking care of ads in PvE encounters. Like, here comes an ad pack, like, okay, somebody tanked there, somebody, like, DPS is down, they're, like, Demon Hunter's already on top of it before any
they can pop over there, like, double jump. Or they can
kite or something like that.
Double jump, dash, like, they're over there. They can kite them around, because if you can dash and you can double jump, you're getting away from these ads faster than anyone else can. Mm-hmm. Another thing they have is spectral sight, so... Demon Hunters
can see everything.
They can see everything. Also, some of them can see nothing because they have blindfolds over their eyes all the time.
Oh, yeah. No, so, that'll be interesting to see. I mean, I heard a defense was, okay, we have Flare. Yeah, we have Flare, but isn't that just a move you throw on the ground and they have to walk into it?
Yeah.
Spectral Sight, they can see, there's probably a range on it, but they can see stealth units anywhere. They can see through obstacles. They have heat vision. They can see everything.
Is it safe to assume that Hannah Montana was a demon hunter? because they are definitely getting the best of both worlds right now.
Oh, man. They definitely are. It sounds like another mobile move they're getting is Vengeful Retreat. So they're going to be vaulting back and avoiding the next attack or spell directed at them. If you time that right, like...
Oh, you just spent 3 seconds casting a Pyroblast.
Yeah.
You just wasted 3 seconds.
Sorry, I just dodged it. I vaulted out of the way. That's great. I mean, I'm definitely rolling one of these. I'm not going to...
PvP is going to be so annoying, but it's going to be so cool. Like, all you're going to see is Demon Hunters fighting Demon Hunters for the longest time.
This is going to be 10 of them flipping through the air.
Oh, yeah. Well, Night Elves and Blood Elves have a special jump, too. So the Blood Elves will spin through the air, and the Night Elves will flip through the air.
That'll look weird. I think the flip, they showed it on a Night Elf, and the one that did the double jump did the somersault. But it's going to look really weird to see a Blood Elf twirl and then twirl again. It's going to be like a little tornado.
I'm kind of wondering if it can, like, you know how it only sometimes procs the special jump?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you can get, like, on the first jump, you get a flip, and then the second jump, you get another flip, so you do, like, a double somersault in the air.
That would be crazy.
I-beam. They shoot lasers.
They shoot lasers out of their eyes. That looks pretty sweet.
That's not much.
What else can you ask for?
So that's kind of it for the Demon Hunter. Kind of to recap, only for elves, which, as far as lore goes, it makes sense.
I think they made mention that they might offer it to other classes at some point.
I don't know.
Or races, I'm sorry.
I don't know who...
It doesn't make sense.
Fit.
Yeah. I mean, you'd really have to, like... Everyone's a Demon Hunter now, and then that's...
Dwarf certainly won't.
That would look so... Yeah, they should just keep it.
Gnome definitely won't. I'm totally happy with just...
Yeah, me too.
Just the elves.
I like other races. I do happen to be a Night Elf fan. That's definitely my favorite class, but, like...
I do like the Blood Elves.
I don't want to see... I don't want to see gnomes. I don't want to see gnomes flipping through the air, dashing. I just don't want to see it. They don't need to be hunting demons. They can
hunt demons as other classes.
Yeah.
They don't need to make this their day job.
Yeah, definitely.
But that's pretty much it for it. Looks like a pretty exciting class. And we haven't had a new class since Wrath.
No,
that's
we got the monks.
Since Map.
Yeah, and that's a different situation.
Which, monks, I think almost every class could play. So there's a little more.
Yeah, I think we can.
Well, it's a little more selective.
It's selective, and it's lore. It's rich in lore. It makes a lot of sense. People, all of Pandaria was like wait, what?
Oh, a
monks
gnome is a monk? How did that happen?
Why do we all want to be monks? Like, what? I don't know. This one makes a lot of sense. People are excited about it. I'm excited about it. I think it'll be good, and I'm looking forward to hearing some more information on them. So
it's gonna be good,
definitely. All right, let's get into our last major topic and announcement. It's going to be the PvP Honor revamp. So they started off by showing us how the PvP system has evolved throughout the years, and this one is going to be the third version.
I got in at the beginning of it. I liked the first version that was kind of in vanilla in BC. Like, I never got a high rank, so I didn't have to do the grinding part of it, but I liked that I got a title.
Yeah, the title was cool.
Like, I know you can get the titles now, but you have to do rated battlegrounds for that.
Do you?
Yeah.
The titles were cool, and I think that's probably the only thing that I missed. Dishonorable kills were awful.
Those were dumb.
You had to be careful about what NPCs you killed. I mean, no, that's silly.
I liked that you got gear based on your rank, though.
That was cool.
You could get different, like, now you can get last season's Gladiator gear if you just have a certain amount of points.
Yeah.
Cool. But, like, getting that gear is kind of an achievement.
Yeah.
Like, wow, this guy fucks. This guy PvPs. He's put a lot of time into this.
Mm-hmm.
He does a pretty good job. I don't know if they're gonna make it based on, like, wins or just kills or what.
Yeah. I think this new system, it sounds promising, and we aren't super big PvPers, so we aren't going to be experts on this topic, but I think it sounds cool. It probably will it's definitely going to make me want to PvP more, because
I want to PvP now.
We'll PvP later. But the thing is, what they're doing with this new system is they're shying away from armor bonuses. So you can walk in the same level as someone else into the battleground, and you can go toe to toe with anyone.
What it's going to do is it's going to take, like, you know, say you're leveling up, someone's got heirlooms on, automatically they're going to be better. It's going to normalize
the gear aspect of it.
Yeah. So it's going to come down to, like, class matchups and skill matchups. You know, like a mage, probably going to toss a warrior around. But, you know, if it's two warriors, they're matching gear. If one guy can play better, he's going to win.
Yeah. And what I think sounds really cool is that they're making a PvP talent system, which I think just makes so much sense. And this is something they should have done so long ago.
It should have been done right away.
I mean, the talent system's what differentiates the classes in PvE, so why would we not do it in PvP? And it sounds like you're going to gain honor and you're going to level up a PvP system, and you're going to get different rewards. You're going to get moves, you're going to get passives, you're going to get, I think they're making the trinket, the remove disables.
Yeah.
They're making that like the first thing you gain. So they're making that kind of stuff like, so you'll still be better in some aspects, but eventually everyone is going to
level out.
Everyone's going to level out. Everyone's going to be equal at some point. But just know that you just have to be persistent, and everyone's going to be doing the same thing as you. They're all going to be climbing this ladder. It's not going to be to the exclusive people who have all of that conquest, who have that rating, who just come in and just stomp people. But that's going to piss off a lot of really hardcore PvPers. They're not going to be able to thrash as much as they have been. So
they'll just have to rely on their, like, if they're so high ranked already, they're going to have to depend on their mechanics even more.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you know, if they got to that point already, that should make them feel even better. Be like, oh, I didn't have a gear advantage on this guy, and I trashed him. I threw him in the dumpster.
Yeah, and I think if you really are a true PvPer, if you're someone who likes to fight another person and win on even odds, then you're going to like this system.
It's going to be even more exciting.
It's going to be closer fights. It's going to be well-earned, well-fought fights. It's not going to be, oh, look at this new level 100 who's in here, and I've got the best arena gear out there.
I've got full gladiator on.
Yeah, and just
this guy's got greens.
Two-hit this guy.
This guy's got that staff of the monkey we were talking about earlier. I've got this dope-ass max-level artifact. Yeah,
and that's something they mentioned, was they showed a level 100 side-by-side. Two level 100 side-by-side. Someone who's got, like, dungeon blues, and someone who's got the highest PvP gear, and their item level was, like, a difference of, like, 80 at a level 100.
Yeah.
And the health was almost double. It was just crazy.
Yeah.
So this should be a good implementation.
Another feature they're adding is when you're playing WoW now, you're going to have to get a lot of Mountain Dew and Doritos because, like Call of Duty, you can prestige, you can reset your honor level, which would add more challenge into your gameplay if you're looking for that. Like,
you've got to work your way up again, and
which is something a lot of people like doing. Like, I'm sure there's going to be different levels of prestige, and as you do that, you can get new cosmetic rewards, whether it be variants on your artifact weapon, different mounts, or, you know, badges, or...
Yeah, the portrait badges look pretty cool. They showed a little progression on those, and, yeah, I think what you want in PvP is to stand out, and that's usually what people do compete for, is for that glory. To get these exclusive mounts and these exclusive variants, they, like you say, that you look at that guy and you go, that guy fucks. Like, you don't want to mess with that dude. Like, he's got the good shit. So,
like, you can see a guy who's prestiged like 6 times. He's max level now. I don't know how many times you'll be able to do it. Maybe you'll be able to do it as many times as you want.
Yeah.
Or you see a guy who's just who reached max PvP level like once and he's not going anywhere, and you're like, that guy's kind of a bitch. But the guy who's got 6,
yeah,
he's probably dumbstruck. Like, he PvPs. He knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
He likes the challenge of PvP.
And that's what it's about, yeah.
Yeah, you're giving yourself a challenge again. Like, if you do get max rank in your PvP, like, talents, you're pretty strong compared to most people, or you're at least leveled with them. But this is giving yourself another challenge. So, like, if you just prestige, you don't have those talents, but you're still beating up on people who have full talents. Like, how good is that going to make you feel? Like, how good of a player is that going to make you think you are?
Yeah, and that was something I remembered about Call of Duty was I liked to prestige just because I liked to go back and I liked to get excited about getting those perks again, or excited about like finishing off that gun or working on that gun again. Yeah. I remember waiting for level 32 to get Bandolier so I'd have extra mags, more ammo.
Also, when you unlock the Scorpion and you put the silencer on it.
Yeah.
It was so good.
But yeah, you'll be excited about getting back to that level where you get to pick that reward. And if I remember correctly, when you get to a certain level, you get to pick you have options about which you get to pick. Either you pick it now or you don't get it until later. So you can go through and you can maybe grab different things, test them out, see which ones are the best. And yeah, I think it should provide a pretty cool new element to PvP.
So, in my opinion, PvP is looking a whole lot more attractive than it has since Arena first came out. That was the last time I got super interested in it.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. Like you said, we've never been really big on PvP, but this is something that
might get me pretty excited to get into it.
Yeah, for sure.
So that kind of wraps up the major features that they announced with the game and the expansion. So we're hoping for more information soon. They did mention that beta is coming this year, so they've got, 3 months? 3 months and we'll see at least beta. So BlizzCon's coming up next month. We'll probably get dropped a ton of information there, hopefully. Hopefully they save some stuff for that.
Yeah. Wow.
So they'll probably have beta there. They'll probably have early stages of beta there.
They usually have like a closed.
Usually they're the starting zone of something.
Once, yeah, like I know there was some BlizzCon where people were making blood elves and and kind of doing stuff, giving us their first impressions. Like back in the day when WoW Insider was WoW Insider. They reported on that, and we got to kind of see it through their eyes, and they told us their impressions, and they're like, "Oh, Burning Crusade, it's gonna be dope." You know what? It was.
Yeah. I think we'll either be seeing some kind of start to the Demon Hunters, or we'll be seeing some kind of Broken Shore experience, or we'll be seeing something along the lines of the first steps on to
quest. You know,
it would make sense because that's going to be like a starting zone, or like your first steps into the expansion will be
baby steps.
Demon Hunters for people. So
I don't know, if I was Blizzard, I might want to keep that a secret though.
Yeah, I think that's a good feature that they would want to save. So we'll see. Hopefully we get some great news in about a month's time. Usually BlizzCon's about the first few weeks of October.
I remember one year it was on like the weekend of our birthday. So
maybe it's later October. But hopefully soon. But I wanted to leave just a couple cliffhangers before we get to talk about our expectations for the expansion. So I don't know where Magni Brownsbeard was mentioned, but I did hear someone talking about him and some speculation for him being involved in the expansion here. Last we know, he is crystallized because he grabbed some tablet from Ulduar and used it to protect Ironforge during the Cataclysm, and that kind of crystallized him. And
good guy Magni.
Good guy Magni. Yeah, I think he might still be just chilling in his crystallized form, but it sounds like we might need him for some Ashbringer stuff. Legend has it that after Magni heard about Marden's death, Magni's fury and rage were almost infused into the weapon as he was creating Ashbringer. And Morrigraine received one of the finest weapons ever created. So this kind of solidifies the fact that he is the weaponsmith, of the highest degree. And it sounds like we might need him for some of these new weapons, some of these new artifact weapons. So that should be interesting to see if they tie in Magni into this at all, because the Great Forge and Iron Forge is supposed to be like the
best.
So it sounds like we have to reforge some weapons. It sounds like we have to.
And dwarves are some of the greatest smiths.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see what happens with him. Another character that I liked to see as one of the major lore characters was Gen Greyman. So what the hell is he up to with him and his Worgen buddies in Gilneas? I don't think we've heard of him since Cataclysm, since we got out of Gilneas. So it'll be interesting to see what he's up to. Sylvanas is another major character, so I wonder if there's a little rift going on between them.
I feel like I heard mentioned somewhere that Sylvanas was going to get a lot of attention this expansion. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. I know Dibble might have said that she might show up as like the leader of the Horde or something like that.
Something like that. I know she's going to learn more about her Valkyr. More of the, I think we're going to be experienced more of the pure Valkyr. It should be interesting because she has her corrupted Valkyr.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how those two kind of tie in. She's worried about her Forsaken. But yeah, it should be interesting.
Gammon, rest in peace.
Gammon.
He's gone.
I can't believe they made it. Didn't they make him a boss?
Oh yeah.
He's dead though. Yeah, did they make him a boss in Siege of Orgrimmar or something?
I think he just got ripperonied. He is.
I didn't play Siege. I think I got into Siege of Orgrimmar LFR when I was like really drunk, and I think I fell asleep right when it started or something.
I don't know how you fall asleep when you're playing games. It's the dumbest thing.
Oh my god! All right, so we're getting off topic again. Joel, let's hear about what you want to see in Legion, and I will give my 2 bits, and we will be done with this discussion.
2 things I want to see. That would be a server squish. LFR is good if you're in a hurry. I liked the community feel of the servers. Like, I don't know, back in the day, you'd know who was a troll on your server. Like, you would know him, everyone would know him, or you would group with a tank, and you'd be like, oh, this guy's a super good tank. I'm going to put him on my friends list. You know, sometimes I'll chat with him, see what's going on, see if he's looking to tank something for me. Same with healers or DPS, or, you know, just like you'd get in a guild, you'd get to know the people. They would matter. You just had that community feeling, and since I don't know what the exact term is for it, flex servers or something where you can see people from other servers.
Yeah, now. When they do some of the cross
realm stuff. I feel like that kind of killed the community feel.
Yeah, I got you.
Like, it helps you get in groups faster, but there was something about making a group. It sucked. It really did. Sometimes you spend hours trying to find people you can slash who, like Warrior 70. Like,
yeah.
Are you a tank? Are you a tank? Are you a tank? Fuck off. I'm not.
I'm not. Go away.
But, excuse me. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see us kind of, maybe if they reduced the server number in half, so we would not get rid of, like, all the people, but like the subscriber number's gone down considerably.
Yeah, so you just feel like they have to condense at some point,
like
to keep people entertained.
A condensation would be good, and then you would get to know these people again. Like, oh, MacDolan is in trade all the time.
What a troll!
Just this stupid shit. At least it's not all the racist stuff that most people say.
There you go.
I'd like to get rid of that. I'd like to make those people get some bans a little easier.
Yeah, they really don't do a lot of punishment for that.
They don't do a lot of punishment anymore, and people are saying some pretty bad stuff. Going on to the thing I want to see most, with the Legion making a return, Medivh had a lot to do with the Legion, and he lived in a little place we like to call Karzan.
Yes.
And yes. We need to go back, because that was my single favorite raid. That was probably the raid I've actually done the most.
Yeah.
But it was...
Many stand with you on that one.
But it was so, like, it was so neat. Everything had a story, like Moros was the butler, you know, and I can't even think of some of the guys' names, but, like, the opera event.
Yeah.
Like, how cool was that? And then there was
it was his private mansion, like, so everything was
correlated.
Yeah,
and, like
you start out in the stables and you work your way up the tower, and then you find Medivh's chambers, and you go out on the terrace, and
like 3 spooky, 5 me, like everything was haunted pretty much. It was so cool.
Yeah, it was great.
It was such a fun expansion. There was a lot of cool mechanics, like the curator.
The damage would do it. The Curse of Doom.
A ton of damage.
The Curse of Doom time.
Warlocks would cast a Curse of Doom a minute before it
would crit for like 100,000 when that was like huge, and now sadly that's like a crit.
It would be like percentage points, like not fractions of a point. But I just think it'd be a good time to go back to Karazhan. Like
I think we are. I think we are for sure. I don't know if we're going back in a rating sense, but I know they mentioned that Karazhan was going to be important in some sense. So
I would also like to see time walking raids. I know we're kind of doing dungeons. I think raids would be really cool.
It would be a good idea, yeah. What if they could bring back like ZG before they messed it up and stuff?
I don't know if they would do that since they spent so much time on it. But
but it wasn't a raid when they changed it. They changed it into a 5-man.
Oh, that's right.
Because like they have that stuff scripted, so like
yeah.
I mean, if you could queue up into it,
get it back from private server.
I mean, the private servers. They just go
private servers have it.
Talk to one of the guys running the private server.
But yeah, like say, I want to do time walking. Like if they don't make cars on the new raid, I want to do time walking cars on. Like I still want to get my I want to get my tier 4, but I want to have to work for it. I want to have to like fight for it.
Go through the fights again. Yeah, like scale it up. How it was.
I will not move when Flame Wreath is cast.
Thank God.
Or I won't get my loot. I don't know. I think those are the 2 things I really want to see. And hopefully at least one of them.
Yeah.
I think Karazhan's more likely than a server squish.
Yeah. I think that's almost inevitable, server squish. So that's good. Those are both good points. I really hope to see Kara myself. Players have been asking to go back there for years, so that I feel like is definitely going to happen. So
Forever?
What if Khadgar has his own dope place? Because don't they show? I think the opening thing in the trailer is Khadgar in his little crow form on top of Kara. I'm pretty sure that's where he is.
I think you're right.
So I wonder if he's got his own little dope place. Probably not. He wasn't as cool as Medivh.
No,
badass.
Medivh was. I don't know. He was like one of those bad boy magic. Just like you see him on an episode of Cops with a cigarette.
Yeah, for sure.
And he flies away on his hippogriff. I don't know.
So the few things that I want to see in the expansion, I want to start with just making a point about Dalaran. I'm so excited that they're bringing it back. It's a fan favorite social multi-faction hub that people are going to be able to go in and they're going to be able to hang out. Why have we not had this for the past 3 years? Like, why did Blizzard think we separately wanted our own hubs for our factions where we had really boring and bleak little basic horde and alliance camps like we had in Draenor, or we had identical shrines in Pandaria? Like, Pandaria is this ancient world. Why do we have 2 identical shrines that have no interest to them? Like, you don't look across the way and be like, oh, cool, they have a shrine. I would like to go check that out. Either I want to sneak in and check it out myself on my character, or I want to make a character and level it up just to see it, or like to go play around. But I think we're just looking for something that people can get together and enjoy, and it'd be interactive and fun at the same time. So Dalaran had the sewers where it was fun to hang out. You could find the potion and you could turn into the bug and you could fly around,
and then they also had like little toy shops.
Yeah, the cool little toys.
You couldn't go in the enemy factions area. You'd get teleported out right away.
Do you remember that achievement where you had to read like the 8 books in Dalaran that were almost impossible to find?
Yeah.
Like cool stuff like that.
Or you could fish in the fountain to get the coins.
Yeah, it's just cool stuff like that. I'm looking forward to that. It sounds like they're doing some retexturizing. They're going to be adding some new stuff.
We would also use mounts and run off the side of Dalaran.
Oh, yeah. And, Dibble would go down into the sewer hatch, and he'd use his rocket boots to jump out, and then he would float down with his parachute cloak. That little engineer.
Sometimes.
That little engineer bastard. Oh, yeah, sometimes it would fail, and he'd be in group, and he's dead.
He'd have to eat the
Oh, that was funny. So Dalaran, I'm looking forward to an area that we aren't just going to AFK there. We're not just going to port for an auction house or for a bank. We're going to hang out there. We're going to have some fun. I'm looking forward to that. The other points I'm looking forward to are raiding. So I would love to see some gruel-sized raids, or I'd love to see some 3 or 4 boss entry-level raids at the beginning. I would love something besides just one 7-boss raid, because I think that's just boring.
We had Gruul in BC.
Gruul and Mag Therodon.
Gruul and Mag, and then in Wrath there was the Watcher. What was it?
The Shrine, the Obsidian Sanctum.
No, Obsidian Sanctum was added at the end.
No, that was Ruby Sanctum.
Oh,
Obsidian Sanctum was the Black Dragon.
I'm talking about the Vault.
Yeah, the Vault of Arkish, Arkishon or something like that. Yeah, that was fun.
There was the wings, as you unlock more stuff, you could fight more bosses, and it would drop PvP or PvE gear.
Yeah, that was a really cool feature. It's just something more for endgame other than just okay, here's what's going to happen. It's going to launch. We're going to get the raid a week after. We're going to start running it, and once you finish it, you got to wait till the next patch. It's that's cool that you want to pace it out, but I don't think that was a great model for Warlords. And
I think they think that people are going to do normal, and then they're going to do heroic, and they're going to do whatever
But that's the thing. You don't want to constantly run the same thing over and over again, just at a harder difficulty. And I don't think that's a great way. I think you want more content. You want more things to go in and see and explore and try out. So I'm hoping to see something a little more advanced there. And I really hope they're not going down the potential path of the 3 predictable raid tiers like they did with Warlords. They said they were happy with the Warlords model. I'm afraid that we know about these 2 raids, and then it's going to be this last one. I have no clue what the last one would be, but I just don't want it to be the 3. I don't even know if I would want it to be Kara. It'll be interesting to see. I'm just looking for a little more diversity and some options in the raiding experience other than here's your 7-boss raid, here's your 10-boss raid, and then we're going to give you another 13-boss.
That's not a lot.
It's really
not a lot of options.
And I know that they want to get expansions out faster, but if you pace out the content and you scale it correctly, you really don't have to shove it down people's throats.
I kind of want to, I should have said this earlier, attunements to raid.
Yeah, attunements are bad.
I thought it was kind of cool. It gives you a reason to run these dungeons with people.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
yeah,
it's a gateway. If you can't get through the dungeons, you shouldn't be in the raid.
Yep, absolutely. And then the last point I'm looking forward to is another zone or 2 on not only necessarily on the Broken Isles, but somewhere that we're going to be spending some time, because the looks of it, like I said, we're not going to have a lot of wiggle room on the Broken Isles. It looks like the smallest continent. And I really hope they slow down the leveling. I loved the leveling in Warlords of Draenor. It was so much fun. I think they added in some great features, but it just went by so damn fast. I was baffled that I was leveling this quickly, and I remember somebody logging on. I think it was Dibble. He said, "Holy cow, you're leveling really fast." I go, "I know, but I'm not playing that much, and it's just going by so quickly." So it was something that I enjoyed so much that I was really confused on why they rushed it. I don't mind leveling longer and waiting to get to the end game, because if they're gonna, I just think it's silly to rush something that you do so well. And I think a lot of people will agree with me that the leveling in Warlords General was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And the exploration was fun. And
for sure.
They just
finding
did it
stuff and the rare creatures.
The rare creatures and the treasure and
the toys that they would have.
Yeah. I just don't expect myself to be okay, leveling was fun, let's go level another guy.
That's what I did.
I know you did. But I just want to savor the leveling experience. So those are the few things I'm looking forward to in Legion, and I'm hoping that some of those come to fruition, but it should be interesting. Do you have any closing remarks before we end up our first podcast here?
I don't think I have anything else about Legion to add.
I think we added. I think we covered quite a bit.
Dibble might have thought you were leveling fast because he levels so slow.
Ooh, Dibble, gotcha.
Sorry, nerd. No, I think that's it. So I'm going to steal the tagline of Boy. Say, see you, nerds.
All right, thanks, guys.